The first thing I heard was my son's voice screaming through the door. "Open up, Mom! I know you're in there!" His fists pounded against the wood so hard the hinges rattled. But I just stood there in my kitchen, gripping the edge of the counter, my knuckles white, my hands shaking. I didn't move. I didn't answer. Because for the first time in 28 years, I had done something I never thought I'd have the courage to do. I had said no to my son. Behind that door stood Tyler, my only child, the baby I had raised alone after his father walked out when he was 2, the boy I had sacrificed everything for. And behind him stood 2 police officers he had brought to intimidate me into opening my door, into giving him access to my house, into handing over what he believed was rightfully his, my money. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I tell you what happened that day, before I tell you about the police report and the threats and the moment I realized I had lost my son, long before I locked him out, I need you to understand how we got here. If you're watching this, please do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. Leave a comment telling me where you're from and what time it is where you are. I love connecting with you all. And trust me when I say you're going to want to hear every word of what comes next. My name is Margaret Chen. I'm 63 years old. I worked as a registered nurse for 41 years, mostly night shifts at City Memorial Hospital. I saved lives. I held hands of dying patients. I worked through holidays, birthdays, my son's school plays, everything, because that's what mothers do. We sacrifice. But somewhere along the way, I forgot that sacrifice has limits. I forgot that love shouldn't require you to destroy yourself. Tyler was 7 when I realized his father wasn't coming back. James had left us for a woman he met at a conference in Chicago. Just packed his bags one Tuesday morning and said he needed to find himself. He found himself all right. Found himself a new wife, new kids, new life, all within 2 years. I became both mother and father to Tyler. I worked double shifts to afford his soccer cleats, his school supplies, his college fund. I was there for every game, every parent-teacher conference, every milestone, exhausted but present. Tyler was a good kid. Really, he was. Smart, athletic, charming. Everyone loved him. He got into a good college on a partial scholarship. I covered the rest. $40,000 over 4 years. I didn't mind. That's what the college fund was for. But then he graduated and things started to change. Or maybe they had been changing all along and I was too blind to see it. He moved back home after college. "Just for a few months, Mom," he said. "Just until I find a good job and save up for my own place." Those few months turned into a year. That year turned into 3. At first, I didn't mind. It was nice having him home. The house felt less empty. I cooked his favorite meals, did his laundry, cleaned his room, just like when he was young. I told myself I was helping him get on his feet. But Tyler wasn't looking for jobs. Not really. He'd sleep until noon, spend his afternoons playing video games, his evenings out with friends. When I'd ask about his job search, he'd get defensive. "I'm networking, Mom. That's how you get good positions these days. You wouldn't understand. The job market is different now." I bit my tongue. Maybe he was right. Maybe I didn't understand I was just a nurse. What did I know about corporate careers? Then he started asking for money. Small amounts at first. "Hey, Mom, can I borrow $50 for gas?" "Mom, I need $100 for this networking dinner. It's a great opportunity." I gave it to him every time because he was my son and he needed help. And isn't that what mothers do? When Tyler turned 26, he brought home Ashley. She was pretty, bubbly, worked as a receptionist at a dental office. They'd been dating for 3 months when Tyler announced they were getting married. I was happy for him, truly. I thought maybe marriage would be the push he needed to finally get serious about his life, to find real work, to move out. But on the night before the wedding, Tyler came to me with a request. Mom, Ashley, and I were talking. We're thinking about buying a house. You know, start building equity instead of throwing money away on rent. My heart sank. I knew what was coming. We need help with the down payment. Just $70,000. We'll pay you back once we're settled, I promise. $70,000. That was more than half of what I had left in my retirement fund. I had been planning to retire in 2 years. I was tired. My back ached from decades of lifting patients. My feet hurt constantly. I dreamed of sleeping through the night without an alarm. But when I looked at Tyler's face, so hopeful, so expectant, I couldn't say no. He was my son. This was his future, his happiness. I gave him the money. They bought a beautiful house in the suburbs, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a pool. I helped them move in, bought them housewarming gifts, a new couch, kitchen appliances, expensive things because I wanted them to be happy. We'll have you over for dinner every week, Ashley promised, hugging me. You're such an amazing mother-in-law. But the weekly dinners never happened. They were always too busy, too tired, had other plans, and the $70,000 never mentioned again. When I brought it up 6 months later, Tyler looked at me like I'd grown a second head. You said it was a gift, Mom. You said you wanted to help us get started. Now you want it back? That's pretty cold. I never said it was a gift. I said it was help. But arguing felt petty. He was my son. I let it go. 2 years later, Ashley got pregnant. I was overjoyed. A grandchild. Finally, a chance to be part of a family again, to have Sunday dinners and holidays, and all the things I'd been dreaming of. Tyler called me a week before Ashley's due date. His voice was tight with stress. Mom, we need to talk about something. Ashley wants to be a stay-at-home mom for the first few years. We think it's better for the baby. I think that's wonderful, I said. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, but the thing is, we can't afford it on just my salary. The mortgage is high and we have car payments and you know how expensive everything is. We were hoping maybe you could help us out. Just for a couple of years. How much? I asked, my stomach already sinking. $2,000 a month. Just until Ashley goes back to work. $2,000 a month. I made $3,800 a month after taxes. After my rent, utilities, car payment, insurance, and groceries, I had maybe $900 left. He was asking for more than twice that. Tyler, I don't have that kind of money, I said carefully. I'm trying to save for retirement. I want to stop working soon. Come on, Mom, you don't need to retire yet. You're only 60. You're healthy, and we're family. This is your grandchild we're talking about. Don't you want what's best for your grandchild? The guilt hit me like a physical blow. He was right, wasn't he? I was being selfish, thinking about myself when my own grandchild needed help. I took on extra shifts, started working 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I was exhausted all the time. My body screamed in protest. But every month I sent Tyler $2,000. Baby Emma was born in March. She was beautiful, perfect. I went to the hospital the day after she was born, my arms full of gifts, diapers, clothes, toys, a handmade baby blanket I'd spent months crocheting. Ashley was in the hospital bed, looking tired but glowing. Tyler was on his phone. He barely looked up when I walked in. "Oh, hey, Mom." He glanced at the gifts. "Thanks for the stuff. Listen, we're pretty tired right now. Maybe you could come back tomorrow?" I had driven 40 minutes to get there, taken time off work, brought gifts I'd carefully chosen. But I smiled and said of course and left without even holding my granddaughter. The next day, they were too tired. The day after, they had family visiting. Ashley's family, not me. By the time I finally got to hold Emma, she was 2 weeks old. I thought things would get better once they settled into a routine, but they only got worse. My calls went unanswered. My texts got one-word replies. When I asked to visit, there was always a reason why it wasn't a good time. But every month, without fail, Tyler would text me on the 1st. "Hey, Mom, can you send this month's money today? We have bills due. No hello. No how are you. Just a demand for money." And like a fool, I sent it because he was my son, because Emma was my granddaughter, because I didn't know how to say no. Okay, I need to pause here. If you're watching this and you've ever felt used by your own family, type "used" in the comments. If you've ever given everything to someone who gave you nothing back, type "empty." And please hit that like button. What happens next is going to shock you. 2 years passed. 2 years of sending $2,000 every month, while Tyler and Ashley lived in their beautiful house, and I lived in my small apartment, working myself into the ground. I hadn't saved a penny for retirement. My body was breaking down. I developed arthritis in my hands. My back pain became chronic. Some mornings I could barely get out of bed. My doctor told me I needed to cut back on work. "You're wearing yourself out, Margaret. Your body can't sustain this pace forever." But I couldn't cut back. Tyler needed that money. Emma needed that money, or so I thought. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a Saturday morning in October. I had worked a double shift the night before. I was exhausted, barely conscious. My phone rang at 7 a.m. It was my friend Linda. She worked as a nurse too, but at a different hospital. "Margaret, I need to tell you something, and you're not going to like it." My heart started pounding. "What? Is everything okay?" "I saw Tyler last night at the new steakhouse downtown, the really expensive one. He was with Ashley and another couple. They ordered the premium wine, the lobster, the works. The bill must have been at least $400. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. Tyler had told me just days before that they were struggling, that money was tight, that Emma needed new clothes and they could barely afford groceries. "That's not all," Linda continued. "I've seen them there before and at other expensive restaurants. Margaret, they're not struggling. They're living well, really well." After I hung up, I sat in my dark apartment for hours. My mind was racing. If they had money for expensive dinners, why did they need mine? Why was I killing myself with overtime when they were eating lobster? I did something I'd never done before. I got on social media. I'd never been much for Facebook or Instagram, but Tyler and Ashley were always posting. I created an account just to see. What I found made me physically ill. Photos everywhere. Tyler and Ashley at fancy restaurants, at concerts, on weekend trips, Ashley's designer purses, Tyler's new watch, their renovated kitchen that looked like it cost $50,000, and the captions, "Living our best life, treated ourselves tonight, so blessed, with my money I earned by destroying my body, money I should have been saving for retirement, Money they said they desperately needed for bills and diapers and groceries. I scrolled back through 3 years of photos. Vacations to Hawaii, a new car, designer clothes, a pool renovation, all while I worked 6 days a week and ate ramen noodles to save $15 on groceries. There was one photo that broke something inside me. It was from Emma's second birthday party, a massive celebration in their backyard. Bounce house, catering, decorations everywhere, at least 50 people. I hadn't been invited. I zoomed in on the faces. Ashley's parents, her siblings, her friends, Tyler's friends, but not me. His own mother, the woman paying for their lifestyle. I wasn't even worth an invitation to my granddaughter's birthday. I called Tyler immediately. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. He answered on the 5th ring. "Yeah, Mom, what's up?" His voice was casual, unbothered. "I saw Emma's birthday photos online. You had a party." His pause told me everything. "Oh yeah, it was just a small thing. Last minute. We didn't want to bother you. You didn't want to bother me for my own granddaughter's birthday." "Tyler, there were 50 people there. You found time to invite 50 people, but not me?" "Mom, don't be dramatic. You were probably working anyway." Ashley's mom did all the planning. It was easier to keep it to her side of the family. His words were so casual, so dismissive, like I was being unreasonable for wanting to be part of my granddaughter's life. "Tyler, I need to talk to you about the money. I've been thinking maybe it's time to reduce the amount I'm sending. I'm getting older. I need to think about my own retirement." "Reduce it?" "Mom, we have a budget based on that money. We have expenses. You can't just change things on us. That's not fair. Not fair. I'd given him $70,000 for a house. I'd given him $48,000 over 2 years in monthly payments, nearly $120,000, and asking to reduce it was not fair to him. "Tyler, I'm 61 years old. My body is breaking down. I can't work like this forever." "Then work smarter, Mom. Pick up some consulting gigs, work from home. There are options. You just don't want to figure them out." He spoke to me like I was lazy, like I was the problem. After 41 years of nursing, after raising him alone, after giving him everything, "I have to go, Tyler. I'll talk to you later." I hung up before he could respond, and I sat in my apartment and cried. Not gentle tears, ugly body-shaking sobs that came from somewhere deep in my chest. I cried for the son I thought I had, the son I'd raised to be kind and grateful. I cried for the years I'd lost, the retirement I'd never have. I cried for my granddaughter who barely knew me. But somewhere in those tears, something else emerged, something hard and cold and absolutely done. I was done being used. I was done sacrificing myself for someone who saw me only as a source of money. I was done. The next morning, I went to my bank. I opened a new account. I changed my direct deposit. I made sure Tyler couldn't see my balance or my transactions. Then I did something that felt both terrifying and liberating. I blocked Tyler's number. I didn't send a message explaining. I didn't give him warning. I just blocked him and Ashley. And when they tried to reach me from other numbers, I blocked those too. The 1st of November came, the day Tyler expected his monthly payment. I sent nothing. Instead, I slept in for the first time in months. I made myself a real breakfast. I sat in my apartment and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. It lasted 3 days. On the 4th day, I came home from grocery shopping to find Tyler's car in my parking lot. He was sitting in the driver's seat, engine off, waiting. When he saw me, he got out. His face was red, his jaw clenched. Where the hell have you been? I've been calling you for days. Did you block me? Are you serious right now? 2043. I need space, Tyler. I started walking toward my building, but he followed. Space? Mom, you can't just ghost your own son. And where's this month's money? Our mortgage is due. We have bills. I stopped walking, turned to face him. I'm not sending money anymore, Tyler. I need to save for my own retirement. You're a grown man with a good job. You can handle your own bills. His face went from red to purple. Are you kidding me? You can't just cut us off like this. We have a budget. We have commitments based on your money. Then maybe you need to adjust your budget. Maybe you need to stop eating at expensive restaurants and taking vacations and buying things you can't afford. Tyler's eyes narrowed. You've been stalking me online? That's creepy, Mom. Really creepy. And what we do with our money is none of your business. What you do with your money is none of my business. What you do with my money is absolutely my business. And I'm done, Tyler. I'm done funding your lifestyle while I work myself to death. You're unbelievable. He was shaking with rage. After everything we've done for you, letting you be part of Emma's life, including you in our family. This is how you repay us? Letting me be part of Emma's life? I haven't seen her in 3 months. You didn't even invite me to her birthday. You've done nothing for me, Tyler. Nothing except take. We gave you a grandchild. That should be enough. But no, you have to be selfish and difficult. Fine, keep your money, but don't expect to be part of our lives anymore. He got in his car and peeled out of the parking lot. I stood there shaking, my grocery bags heavy in my arms. But I didn't chase him. I didn't call him back. I went inside, put away my groceries, and tried to convince myself I'd done the right thing. 2 weeks of silence. I won't lie and say it was easy. It was the hardest 2 weeks of my life. I missed Emma. I missed the idea of my son, even if that idea didn't match reality. Then came the day he showed up with police. I need you to stick with me. This next part is crucial. If you're understanding what I went through, drop a strong in the comments. And please subscribe. You need to hear how this ends. I was home on a Saturday morning when the pounding started. Aggressive, angry, violent. Open up, Mom. I know you're in there, Tyler's voice, followed by more pounding. My heart was racing. I looked through the peephole and my blood went cold. Tyler was there, and so were 2 police officers. Ma'am, this is the police. We need you to open the door. One of the officers called through. My hands were shaking as I unlocked and opened the door. What's going on? Tyler pushed forward immediately. Finally! Do you know how worried I've been? You won't answer your phone. You won't return messages. I thought something happened to you. Ma'am, the officer said, turning to me, is this your son? Yes. He says you've been unresponsive for weeks and he's concerned for your welfare. Are you okay? Has anyone hurt you or forced you to cut contact? I looked at Tyler. He had the audacity to look concerned, like he actually cared, like he hadn't just spent years using me. I'm fine. I chose to stop answering his calls. That's my right. Mom, don't do this, Tyler's voice cracked. Please, I'm worried about you. We all are. We just want to make sure you're okay, that you're thinking clearly. Thinking clearly. The implication was obvious. He was suggesting I wasn't mentally competent in front of police officers. Officer, I'm 61 years old. I've been a registered nurse for 41 years. I'm of sound mind. I chose to block my son's number because he was using me financially. That's my right as an adult. That's a lie, Tyler exploded. I never used you. You offered to help. You said you wanted to support us. I gave you $70,000 for a house. I sent you $2,000 a month for 2 years. That's $118,000, Tyler. And in that time, you didn't invite me to my granddaughter's birthday. You barely let me see her. You only contacted me to ask for money. The officers exchanged glances. Ma'am, the older one said gently, this sounds like a family dispute, not a police matter. It's not a dispute, Tyler shouted. She's not giving back my property. She has things that belong to me. What property? I asked coldly. The money. The money you owe me. You said you'd support us. You made promises. That's a verbal contract. I never promised anything except to help temporarily. And I did help. For 2 years, I helped while you lived in luxury, and I worked myself into the ground. Ma'am, the officer said to Tyler, gift money isn't recoverable. If she gave you money freely, you can't force her to continue. But she's my mother. She has a responsibility. I'm her only child. That money should be mine. And there it was, out in the open. What he really believed, that my money was his, that I existed only to fund his life, that being his mother meant I was his personal bank. Sir, the officer said firmly, you need to calm down. This isn't a theft. Your mother has every right to manage her own finances. Tyler's face was a mask of rage and desperation. Fine, keep your money. But don't ever expect to see Emma again. You're choosing money over your own granddaughter. I hope you're happy. He stormed off. The officers apologized for the disturbance and left. I closed my door, locked it, and then I collapsed. I didn't cry. I was beyond tears. I just sat on my floor in my empty apartment and felt the weight of everything crash over me. My son, my only child, the baby I had raised, the person I loved most in the world. He had brought police to my door, accused me of theft, used my granddaughter as a weapon. And for what? Money. Just money. That night I barely slept. I kept replaying everything, every moment, every red flag I'd ignored. Every time I'd convinced myself I was helping when I was really just enabling. The next morning, I did something I should have done years ago. I called a lawyer. I need to protect myself, I told her. I need to make sure my son can't claim I owe him anything, that he can't access my accounts, that he can't challenge my competency. She helped me set up everything: legal documents, a new will, a healthcare proxy that specifically excluded Tyler. Everything locked down tight. Then I did something else. I went to my supervisor at the hospital and asked to reduce my hours. I'm getting older. I need to take care of myself. She was supportive, helped me transition to 3 days a week. For the first time in 2 years, I had time to breathe, to rest, to think about what I wanted instead of just surviving. 6 months passed. 6 months of silence from Tyler. It hurt. God, it hurt. But it also got easier. I started physical therapy for my back. Went to doctor's appointments I'd been putting off. Lost the 20 pounds I made new friends. Not people who wanted something from me, just people who liked my company. We'd meet for coffee, go to movies, have lunch. Normal things I hadn't done in years. My bank account grew, not quickly, but steadily. I started to imagine what retirement might actually look like. Maybe a small house somewhere warm, maybe traveling, maybe just peace. Then 8 months after the police incident, my phone rang from an unknown number. I'd learned to ignore those, but something made me answer. Margaret? It was Ashley's voice, small, broken. Nothing like the confident woman I remembered. Ashley, I need to talk to you. Please, can I come see you? Every instinct screamed no, but I heard something in her voice. Real desperation, not manipulation, actual pain. I'll meet you at the coffee shop on Main Street, tomorrow at 2. When I walked into that coffee shop, I almost didn't recognize her. Ashley had lost weight. Her hair was pulled back. No makeup. Dark circles under her eyes. She looked exhausted, defeated. She started crying the moment she saw me. Margaret, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I sat down across from her, waited. Tyler and I are separated. She wiped her eyes. Have been for 3 months. I found out he's been lying to me too. About money, about debts, about everything. My chest tightened. What do you mean? The money you were sending us. He told me it was an inheritance from his dad. He said his father died and left him money, and we had to be careful how we used it. I had no idea you were still alive, working, sacrificing. I felt sick, and that's not all. She pulled out papers, bank statements. He has 3 credit cards I didn't know about, $70,000 in debt. He's been gambling online, betting on sports. The house is in foreclosure. We're losing everything. The beautiful house I'd paid for, going into foreclosure. I'm leaving him, Ashley said, taking Emma and going back to my parents. They live in Ohio. I'm starting over. But I needed to tell you the truth first, to say I'm sorry. I was part of this. I spent your money. I didn't ask questions I should have asked. Where's Tyler now, living in the house until it's seized? Probably gambling away whatever money he has left. She looked at me with red, swollen eyes. Emma asks about you all the time. She doesn't understand why Grandma doesn't visit anymore. That hurt more than anything. Emma, my granddaughter, thinking I'd abandoned her. I'd like to see her before you leave, if that's okay. Ashley's face lit up. Really? Margaret? Yes, please. She needs you. And I need her to know that family can be good, that not everyone is like Tyler. I spent the next 2 days with Emma before they left for Ohio, just the 3 of us. Ashley, Emma, me. We went to the zoo, made cookies, read stories, and Emma climbed into my lap like no time had passed at all. Grandma, where were you? She asked with 3-year-old directness. I was taking care of myself, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups have to do that. But you're here now. I'm here now. Ashley gave me her parents' address in Ohio, promised to send pictures, to let me visit, to keep me in Emma's life. I believe her, because sometimes people can change. Sometimes they can see their mistakes and actually mean it when they say sorry. As for Tyler, I haven't spoken to him, haven't seen him. I heard through mutual friends that he lost the house, had to move into a small apartment, got a job, a real job, for the first time in his adult life. Part of me feels guilty, wonders if I should have helped him one more time, if I gave up too soon. But then I look at my bank account, my health, my new life, and I know I made the right choice. Because here's what I learned. Love isn't supposed to drain you. Family isn't supposed to use you until there's nothing left. And helping someone doesn't mean destroying yourself. I worked 41 years as a nurse. I saved lives. I helped people. But the most important person I saved was myself. And I did it by finally saying no. Would I have done things differently if I could go back? Maybe. But maybe not. Because every sacrifice I made, every dollar I gave, every boundary I failed to set taught me something essential. It taught me my worth. It taught me that I deserve respect. It taught me that it's never too late to choose yourself. If you made it this far, thank you. Thank you for listening, for not judging, for understanding. Drop a comment and tell me your story. Are you dealing with something similar? Have you had to cut off family? How did you find the courage? And please, subscribe. Share this video. Maybe someone out there needs to hear this. Maybe someone is sitting in their apartment right now, working themselves to death for family that only sees them as an ATM. Maybe they need to know it's okay to stop. 3 months ago, I retired, fully retired. I'm 62 years old. I live in a small apartment, yes, but it's mine. Peaceful, full of things I chose. I'm planning a trip to Ohio in the spring to see Emma. Ashley sends me photos every week. Emma in her new school. Emma making crafts. Emma being a normal, happy kid. Tyler sent me a message last week. First contact in 10 months. It just said, "I'm sorry, Mom. I was wrong. I haven't responded yet. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't." The difference now is that it's my choice, and I'm not making it out of guilt or obligation or fear. I'm making it because I finally understand something essential. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot light yourself on fire to keep others warm. And you cannot love someone more than you love yourself without destroying both of you. My name is Margaret Chen. I'm 62 years old. I'm a retired nurse. I'm a grandmother. And for the first time in decades, I'm free. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, because if you don't, nobody else will.